Oh, I just choked on some water as a way to die. I don't think I'll ever start a video properly. Oh god. The internet. It's an amazing place for social media. The way we are connected today. We use social media to be closer to friends, family, use it for work, use it to network, build a social following. We use it for fun, to express creativity, but amongst all of the likes and the hearts and the shares and the follows and the retweets, something happens. We get lost. We get so lost that a saying comes into play. It is, comparison is the thief of happiness. And I really learnt that recently. I decided that social media became too toxic for me, and in turn, it was not good for my mind. It was not good, and it would send me into a dark place, which of course led me back to social media and back to complaining about social media being toxic. And two toxic things together doesn't make anything clean. It doesn't. So I decided to take a leap of faith and just come off social media completely. Originally I was only going to do it for 30 days, and then month after month after month I just ended up coming off social media completely for a whole year. And I didn't intend to. That was not my plan to do that, and all of a sudden it happened. And I guess when we go back to how, it all started when I decided to do what was best for me, do a social detox and clear my mind a bit, because I was not happy and something told me maybe coming off socials would be the best thing to do. I deleted all of the apps from my phone, I erased my internet history, I watched different YouTubers and what they did, one specifically being Matt Diavella. I'll link his channel below in the description, and I decided it was time to try it too. And for the first week I was not okay with this. I kept on trying to look for an app that wasn't there on my phone, and I couldn't believe it wasn't there, and I would keep trying to find ways to break my own rules and Google up Facebook, RIP, Google up Twitter. I was Googling up things I banned myself from. Eventually I decided to just bite the bullet and quit. Just come off social media completely. I found things like writing, journaling, meditation. I went on walks. I did anything I could to possibly prevent myself from going back to socials, and I found myself being more and more productive. I started writing my own work. I started seeing people and not just talking to people on social media, but I went off social media completely and I started to see the people in front of me were probably more my friends than, say, that same person I went to school with for many years and I'm just talking to every now and again. Like, come on. Sometimes you have to get to a point, and I learnt this a few months in. Just because someone likes a post or comments or even like directly messages you because of something they saw online, it does not mean that their acknowledgement and reaction to what you do on social media equates to them being your friend. It doesn't work that way, and I learned that the hard way. When I came off social media a few months in, I went through ins and outs of feeling depressed. I was disappointed. I was very disappointed in a lot of my friends. I was disappointed because I was not okay when I left social media, and I was going through a rough time, and it was very evident to a lot of people. And all of a sudden, when someone like that, and I had a haircut, I made a drastic change to my appearance, there was a lot of things that I did which would have been big telltales to a lot of people, but no one seemed to care. Nobody noticed that I came off socials. No one seemed to message me, no one seemed to check in on me to see if I was okay. None of that happened, and I started to ignore these people. I started to become more and more isolated. I would binge watch Netflix in my room, do other things to keep me preoccupied, and this happened for a few more months. And then by the time I hit month 6 without social media, I found people were messaging me. People who actually cared about me would message me and see, hey, I haven't seen your socials in a really long time, or hey, you disappeared, I hope you're okay, we should hang out soon. And lo and behold, I found a small group of people, a very, very small group of people who actually did care enough to message me, see if I was okay, see what was going on with me and why I was not on social media anymore. And that really was the most comforting thing I'd ever had. I found myself having dinner with friends, not looking at my phone. I found myself in conversations, not needing to look at my phone every second, and I became more and more in the moment. I started to value the people who I'm friends with even more. I wasn't looking at them as something on my schedule that had to be covered. It didn't become that anymore. It became a matter of, hey, I'm free and I want to hang out with someone, and doing so. So naturally, I found that leaving social media, I became more and more present. I started to have more time to do more of the things that I never had the chance to before, or I would keep making excuses for not being able to do something because I just didn't have time. But the reality of that situation is I just had to leave social media. I just had to quit the distractions and make that buffer time to squeeze in all the things that I wanted to do. The hours that I would spend on social media every day would be replaced with productivity. I started to be more and more productive because I was no longer on socials. I had more time for myself. I had more time to talk to people. I had more time to feel more accomplished than I ever have in a very, very long time, actually. And I found that leaving social media is probably the most valuable thing that you can do for yourself. If not a year, try a month and maybe even 2 months and gradually build up. I did find by the 6th month I was back onto Facebook, not entirely, but just 5 minutes a week, and it was only to check 2 pages that were entirely work related. I kept that discipline, and I still keep that discipline, and I still to this very day have not downloaded any of the apps back onto my phone. By the 7th to 8th month I came back onto Twitter, and it was just because my job requires me to network a lot. So it was really important for me to come back on and stay in the loop with what was going on, because being an actor, Twitter does help a lot with what's going on in the industry, and it was a discipline that I set to myself on the 8th month of being away from social media. So finally an entire year has passed and I decided to scroll through Instagram for the first time in a year, because I hadn't done that in a really long time, and to my surprise, I didn't recognize half the people I was following anymore. They were not a huge part of my life anymore, so I didn't know why I was following them. There were some people I just didn't recognize anymore. There's some people who I just never really paid attention to, but I had them on my social feed and I just didn't know why they were there. It's not like they ever messaged me, cared for me, spent time with me, invited me out. Why did I still have these people on my feed that were completely irrelevant to my life? Were they bringing, now here's a bit of Marie Kondo, yes, okay. Were they bringing value to my life? No. So why were they on my social feed? I do believe that you are a product of your environment, and if your environment is not positive, is not healthy, then you are feeding yourself these unhealthy things and you're therefore making yourself unwell, and that is not good for the mind. And I found that was really important, to have a positive feed of people that do mean something to you, and it's really important to have meaningful connections. And I found that with Instagram was one of my biggest things. I was not having meaningful connections with any of the people I was following or who followed me. During this year away from social media, I admit I did see a therapist, and it did help me getting back on social media in a productive way, in a way that was meaningful to me. And so if you fast forward up to now, all of the things that my therapist taught me about being productive and using social media or any tools from the internet wisely and carefully and with diligence can really help you go a long way. And I found that for myself. So after being away from social media for so long, I started to come up with these guidelines of how to follow a healthy use of social media that will be meaningful but also spark joy. I'm fully aware that I'm using a lot of Marie Kondo in this. Okay. Now, going off social media and deciding to spend time with people that were more meaningful to me, I think it's best to clarify what that is, because a lot of the time when we have the idea of loneliness, we think that we need to have like a partner in our life. But on the contrary, it can be completely different from that. It can actually be this idea of a team. I found this very enlightening. I watched Matt Diavella do an interview with someone on the loneliness epidemic, this epidemic of loneliness, this idea that we need to be with somebody, we need to have one person, and that is the key to not being lonely anymore. Or using social media will make us feel less lonely, but it doesn't always work that way. And I found that the most important thing that we can do for ourselves is have a tribe, have a group, because when you go back in history, marriage wasn't a thing. It was all about being with a group of people. It was about having a tribe. Marriage wasn't a thing. It didn't exist. Ideas of law didn't exist for a very long time, for centuries. And in fact, during these times, tribes were how people survived. Being in groups, using teamwork, accomplishing things together, hunting together, making food together. We were always, as human beings, we were in packs, we traveled together, we would do things together. And especially in our younger years, especially with teenagers, you can see that they do things together in packs and in groups. And when you put adults especially, or when you put any human being in a working environment where they are on their own with nobody else around them, that can take a toll on people's mental health. And we see that a lot with COVID-19 as well, where a lot of people, when they are home on their own in lockdown, it can get quite lonely for them, especially if they do not have a very large family to be around, or if it's just them and their partner. Again, that can still feel quite lonely. And it was really interesting to discover how I went back to basics, leaving social media and cutting certain people out and leaving myself on my own and letting people come to me, like letting the law of attraction do its work. Let people come to me who are meant to be in my life. Let that happen. Be open to it and be brave to go through the phases of loneliness until you find your group, you find your tribe of people. And when you get to that point, you will find yourself in an adjustment period of understanding what happiness is again and what makes happiness. That feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of tribe, that feeling of teamwork, but also that idea of what do you do in your spare time, what do you do when you're on your own that can make you more of a better person, what can improve you, thinking about what you can do to improve yourself every single day. And it doesn't mean making a massive list of habits that you want to incorporate into your lifestyle. It could be a matter of leaving social media for a year, and in those 12 months, every month sets a different goal. Maybe the first month you decide to fill in those social media times with going to the gym and doing workouts every day or every couple of days, or maybe cooking, meal planning, thinking about how you can make yourself healthier, meditating, trying to wake up earlier and going for walks, watching things like documentaries and other things that can help you enlighten yourself, if not audible, maybe reading books. There are lots of things and lots of tools that we have, and we're really lucky to have all these amazing tools and things today, especially like with Google. There's so much more out there, and I think that's when we decide to finally let go of our fears and our loneliness, and we push forward out of that social media bubble, that we can expand ourselves, expand our mind, and expand on bettering ourselves as human beings. I'm going to go into a bit of the list now that helped me. Number 1, quit social media. Go cold turkey. Let people know that you are not going to be on socials. I personally just made a blacked out photo with the words temporarily off social media, and I put that on all of my profiles, and then hashtag self-care and left. This allows people to understand why you are not on socials, and if they do want to message you, they will. And you just have to trust that. And the people, to them, you mean something to them, they will message you and they will check in on you and they will want to spend time with you. People who find that you add value to their life will keep in contact. Number 2, journal. Journal your thoughts, journal your feelings, journal how your day is going without social media. You do not always need to have someone to confide in or have confidence in. Sometimes it's okay to just write to yourself, write in a journal. It's okay to do that. I've come to learn that sometimes having a problem doesn't always equate to needing advice, needing a solution straight away or looking for it. That is an instant gratification idea that we have gotten through being on socials. You know, you post a picture onto social media and then like 2 minutes later you have lots of likes. So having a journal to write your thoughts and feelings in might be the next best alternative, and you will find that it actually is very, very helpful. Number 3, phone calls. I found naturally this is what happened to me, where I wasn't texting or just messaging people anymore. If I wanted to talk to someone, I would just call them up. Sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes having that voice-to-voice contact really does benefit ourselves, and it makes us feel like we had a very meaningful conversation with someone. Number 4, last but not least, trusting the process. You will find yourself doing things that you never thought that you would be able to do. You will find that there are new habits that you're building, healthier habits, and your attention is a lot better because you no longer have those social media blocks in the way. And these little things actually helped me become a lot better. And I feel like leaving socials definitely was really good for me. And if I ever come back to socials, I'm definitely going to use it a lot differently than I did before. A lot more wisely and a lot less. If you really want to use socials, you can go online and use it, and then you know you can cut it out. I find that with Instagram, just downloading it, doing what I need to do, and then just deleting the app. Any social media apps, I can just download them, use them, and then delete them. And that helps a lot. Overall, it helped me to slow down in order to speed up, and my idea of loneliness has definitely changed. My idea of what's healthy social use has changed, and how I interact with other human beings has most definitely changed, and all for the better. So I really do highly suggest that people should give it a go and be brave about it. I think a lot of the time we let fear prevent us from doing things. So just take the leap of faith. Alright then, well, that was it. I do a lot of self-care and adventure videos, and feel free to subscribe so you can see more of it. Anyways, that's me, Nix, over and out. Bye guys!